So the reason we want to talk about Star Wars a little bit, we want to talk about the Clone Wars series. So the Clone Wars series, season 7 is out right now. It's the final season. And this show is quickly becoming one of the most important parts in the Star Wars mythos. Because of this final season and the season as a whole, we get to see a lot of cool things that we didn't necessarily get in the main movies. So this is definitely filling in a lot of gaps. So one of the coolest things, we see more of the Siege of Mandalore. So you see the Mandalorian planets getting attacked and destroyed. We find out why and what's the cause of it. We get more information on Ahsoka, which is pretty much everybody's favorite female Jedi right now. And then, of course, Darth Maul, another fan favorite. We get to see more of his story arc unfold in this. And needless to say, well, not needless, I'm sure many of you already know this, that Season 7 has direct ties into Episode 3.
Yeah.
Is it the Phantom Menace? No, that's Episode 1.
No, Revenge of the Sith.
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Listen.
Give me your nerd card.
I'm sorry. Here you go.
Thank you.
So Chris, you are a devout Star Wars fan. I'm just a regular casual fan.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, very much, yes.
In Obi-Wan and Vader, I trust.
We trust.
So, I haven't started this season yet, but I know you have been dying to talk to me about it and to tell people here watching our channel why it's so important and why they should get into it. So,
yeah, man.
Floor is yours. Why do we need to watch the show?
It is a brilliant. It's a brilliant moment in television. Even though this season's very short and it's basically like this 4-episode arc that's new, and they kind of finished the unfinished episodes, which were okay. You know, we talked a lot about Star Wars because it's been in the news a lot, right? We had Mandalorian, we had Episode 9, we had Ahsoka being cast live action, cartoon series, comic series coming out, new books coming out. But something that I've been so attached to from Star Wars, from one, I think, you know, my fandom not only comes from the nostalgic stuff as a kid and seeing it for the first time young and in movie theaters. No, I'm not 60 plus, but I saw them in theaters for the first time in the 90s when they redid them.
He acts like he's 60 though, right, guys? I mean,
I do. I'm like 100. But
he's wearing a Lubba Dub Dub shirt because he thinks the
Lubba Dub
kids
Dub
like
Dub.
He's like, with the kids like this, I'm like, yes, the kids will like it. Come on, Grandpa.
Well, I love Rick and Morty, but like I think the aspect of Star Wars, right, is the fandom, and the reason it's lasted 40 plus years, and the reason it's gone so long is because it gives you a sense of hope, and it gives you a sense of anyone can do this. Kind of like the way Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, right?
Yes.
Like anyone could put on the mask and be Spider-Man. No one could be Batman but Bruce Wayne, but anyone could be Spider-Man. And it's the same aspect in Star Wars where anyone could do this. You know, it starts out with a farm boy, you know, who's a nobody going nowhere fast. And I think we've kind of lost that in Episode 9 and some of the stuff that we were hopeful to see. So with Clone Wars and with, you know, the wrap up and kind of them finishing the Siege of Mandalore, they've done something so brilliant that it's very easy to forget that some of the small things matter, right? And part of the reason is because Rob and I talk about Star Wars, and I know it because I am, you know, again, it's religion to me, but Rob might be like, hey, where is this in the timeline again?
Yep.
Or like, where does this fall? Or what's before and after this? Or where are we now? This Siege of Mandalore arc is user-friendly to everybody. It you know Episode 3 is going on. Like, not going to spoil everything, obviously, but, you know, the first episode, you see the Jedi kind of start going to the planets where they eventually die in the movie when Order 66 happens.
Let me ask you a question. Because I've been getting this question a lot, and I wanted to talk to you about it. I'm starting my watch of the Clone Wars, right? I'm, you know, starting it. A lot of people want to know, since it's the final season, can they just jump on with this final season and still understand the story and enjoy it? That's a question we've been getting a lot. What would you recommend?
Yeah.
Or what do you think?
I would say absolutely not on this one. Because there is so much that happens before with characters. If you just jump in and, you know, you see Ahsoka without growing up with Ahsoka and seeing her progression, it's not going to mean as basically anything in these last episodes. You're going to see her and be like, oh man, she kind of kicks ass. And you're going to say, oh, she's cool, she's a cool character, but you're not going to know the whys and hows.
Okay.
Same thing with Anakin and
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
As much.
Yeah, no, you definitely have to watch it from the beginning. Start with the movie, the Clone Wars movie. That is the first Clone Wars anything, they released the animated movie. I went to the movie theater to watch it because it was Star Wars anything. That's how this starts, and that's how you see like Ahsoka being assigned to Anakin as a Padawan, and they think it's a mistake, and they think it's for Obi-Wan, and it's during the Clone Wars, and then they start the show, and then go through season 1 through 7. It's a lot, but it's also a cartoon. They're like 20-minute episodes,
and we're in quarantine, so we all have time.
Yeah, and it's some of the best storytelling you'll see in the Star Wars universe, and you will know why, and probably love Ahsoka as much as we all do, who have kind of grown up with this story. But definitely watch the whole thing. I don't suggest jumping on. There's a lot of stuff like, Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order for those reasons. If you don't know those reasons, you're kind of just you're lost.
Moving on, more questions.
Yeah.
Especially with the ties to Episode 3. So I've seen online and I've heard around that like parts of this season happen the exact same time as the events in the movie are happening. Is that true? Without too much spoilage, if it spoils.
150%.
Good.
Basically, it starts out with, if you've seen Episode 3, which everyone has, it starts out with that cool scene with Obi-Wan and Anakin flying in the Jedi fighters, flipping through and destroying the droids to save the Chancellor, right? So, in the first Siege of Mandalore episode, they get word that the Chancellor has been taken by General Grievous, which is the beginning of Episode 3. So, they're originally supposed to help Ahsoka, and Bo-Katan, who we talked to, was the original leader of Mandalore with the Blacksaber. She doesn't have that anymore.
The Blacksaber that we all see at the end of The Mandalorian.
Yes, sir. And basically, she comes to get the Jedi to help because Mandalore's been taken over by Darth Maul, and basically the beginning of Crimson Dawn, which we see in Solo. And basically, Ahsoka's like, how about you give me a unit, I'll go to Mandalore while you and Anakin take care of the Chancellor. So this is happening at the exact same time as Episode 3.
Cool.
All the way through where Ahsoka has a conversation with Obi-Wan in the second episode about, I need more help. And he's like, I can't. We got Palpatine. Dooku is dead. Anakin killed him, which we know happens in Episode 3.
Yes.
And now I have to go to Utapau to capture Grievous and end the war while Anakin is spying on Chancellor Palpatine.
So this is like the other side of the coin for the prequel trilogy.
Yes. 100%. And it's fantastic. The fight between Darth Maul and Ahsoka in the second episode is brilliant. We find out that Maul is kind of, his agenda is way more complex as a character than what we see in Episode 1, where he's just kind of like a badass, right? There's no depth to him.
Yeah, he's just like, I fight people, I kill people, and then I die.
Yeah.
That was his whole thing.
I die, but I don't die. And then I die, but I don't die.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, in this, it's more so he has started this group because he has Force visions, almost like how Anakin had Force visions of Padme dying or his mother dying. Maul has Force visions of this Emperor, and it all centers around Anakin Skywalker. So basically, Maul takes over Mandalore to trap and kind of set a trap for Obi-Wan and Anakin to come fight him to kill Anakin. Because all this centers around Anakin, and obviously Anakin becoming Darth Vader in Episode 3. So he's like, the key is Anakin. He's like, and basically he doesn't tell us so. He's like, help me. We can stop Lord Sidious and Darth Sidious because the galaxy is about to change forever, and we may not get it back. And Ahsoka's about to do it, and she's kind of like, hey, but what do we have to do?
I mean, that kind of makes sense because, even in, the first episode we see Darth Maul, it kind of seemed like he was hesitant to even, trust Palpatine, right? He was, doing his bidding, and he was just like, I don't know about this guy, but he still did it. So I don't
know. I feel like Maul started out as a devoted Sith apprentice.
I never got that feeling.
I don't know. I mean, again, it's tough because there's 12 minutes of him, and most of it's fighting. And Clone Wars is really where he's shelled out as a character. But in the movie, it's like he has 3 lines, and you see him, and then he just he's basically like a trained monkey, right? He's just told what to do. But then he realizes once, Obi-Wan cuts him in half and he somehow survives, that this isn't about him and his power or his master. His master doesn't care about him. He's just a means to an end. And that's where stuff starts clicking. It takes him literally losing his legs to understand what it really means to be part of the Sith and what this guy's real agenda is. And he figures out, oh, he's playing both sides because he's on his day job, he's a senator.
Yeah.
But on his night job, he's a Sith Lord. So I think once Maul starts getting the gears flowing, that's when his characterization really fleshes out in that cartoon.
Okay.
But
So-
yeah, overall, it's fantastic.
Let me ask you a question before we move on to our next topic. With this, we have a couple episodes left.
Yeah, 2.
We have two more.
Mhm.
So
Sure.
what do we expect to see in those final 2 episodes of this season of this series that's going to make a permanent impact on the Star Wars franchise? What are you expecting, or what are you looking forward to? Maybe is a better question to ask.
Yeah, I could basically almost 100% guarantee that this next episode, episode 3 of this arc, will be Order 66 from Ahsoka's point of view.
So we're going to see the Jedi die.
I think we might. I don't know if they're going to do the cartoon Jedi dying again, like how they did in the real episode 3, where you see like the clones turn on them, and Yoda has that great jump cut head off move.
I hope so. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. But again, this is more so seeing what we couldn't see in the movie, right? Like detailing how Ahsoka survived Order 66 and the Jedi and all this stuff. I think it's going to be emotional as hell because Rex is with her, and Rex is one of the clones that like they all love.
Okay.
And is he going to be changed? Is he going to, attack Ahsoka?
Oh.
And how the fallout from that, where she already is away from the Jedi and doesn't trust the Jedi. So I think it's going to be a fallout of Order 66 in the third one.
Okay.
And then the final episode will be kind of Ahsoka going into hiding. Maybe they think she's dead. Where does she go? What does she do?
Kind of like a last Ronin, if you will. Like she's the last warrior. She has to go on her own solo.
Almost like Logan, right? She's kind of just wandering the galaxy of trying to hide and making sure people don't know she's a Jedi or has powers. And also, it has to be some sense of, is Anakin Vader, right? I think there's going to be a lot of, this is Darth Vader, he's the head of the Empire and the Republic, and, behind with the Emperor. Is there going to be a sense with Ahsoka, like, is that Anakin, or is she not going to know, or is she going to feel something that drives her to her next mission? But I think, I talked about this to my friends and stuff. They are treating this very seriously. This final 4 episodes.
You mean Disney is? Disney.
Yes. It did not start normally like Clone Wars, where it has the with that cool drum-based, like, sped-up Star Wars music.
Yeah.
It started with just the green 70s Lucasfilm logo in complete silence and a red Clone Wars emblem. And that's it. So once I saw the green Lucasfilm, like, old school logo, I was like, oh, they're taking this seriously. It is basically one episode, but parts 1 through 4.
That's dope.
And I think it's gonna be a very sad moment, like episode 3 was, but from Ahsoka's point of view, and wondering who's alive and who's not, and Obi-Wan maybe thinking she's already dead, so there's no use of even trying to contact her, because in the movie he doesn't contact her, he doesn't even mention her name. So we'll see what happens, but it's definitely going to be Ahsoka's side, Order 66, and has to be something with Vader.
That sounds dope. Guys, let us know down below if you're watching the season, what you think the final episodes are going to entail, and how do you think this is going to portray the future of the Star Wars franchise. We're definitely excited to hear what you want to talk about and thoughts are.